Welcome to week one of chasing a sub 2 hour and 45-minute marathon. I currently have a marathon PR of 2 hours and 55 minutes and 45 seconds, and I am looking for sub 245. I think this would be a really good and exciting goal, and it's something that would mean a lot to me. And if I'm being honest up front, I don't think I'll do it within the next 4 months that I have to train for the St. George Marathon in October. I am going to train like nobody's business. I'm fully committed. I just don't feel like I'm in the place to run as hard as I need to throughout the training block to be prepared for sub 245. So if all I get is a PR, that's great. But I feel like I'm a little behind, even though I have 17 weeks. So I might surprise myself. Who knows? I just had a rough couple of years with running post that sub 3 hour marathon. So this is a little series I wanted to do. I thought it'd be kind of fun, where every week I break down my training, talk about things, maybe answer questions if people have them about training throughout the week. But I want to walk through what the first week was like. I had a big, massive training block leading up to this 4 month period I have before the marathon. And so I have a decent base and I feel pretty solid and somewhat fit. It's just the speed that I'm stacking on top of. So I really have a couple different pillars or functions when it comes to training. One, that's my volume. Two, that's my speed work. Three, my base work, and then my strength training and stretching. There will be some other things here and there. I will talk about recovery and what I'm doing for that. I'll talk about nutrition. I'm going to break down the main core things, and maybe you get something out of this when it comes to just training or preparing for a marathon. When I broke 3 hours a couple years ago, I was really like averaging around 70, 80 miles per week. I was going really hardcore, and I paid for it afterwards, which is fine. I mean, I accomplished my goal, but I'm trying to take a more balanced approach in a way where I'm still serious about training, but I don't want to be exhausted throughout the day or exhausted at work. And that definitely happened when I broke 3 hours. So we'll see if what I'm doing is enough to break 245. Like I said, I doubt it, but I am not going to take it off the table because that seems foolish and maybe I surprise myself. So let's talk about running and what I did for training this week. I have another 16, 17 weeks, and so we just barely kicked this off. Now, like I said, I had a good base, and so I'm not just jumping straight into this, but I'm looking to average about 50 miles per week. I am okay if that's all I do. I'm definitely going to see if I'll increase volume over time, and especially as I get closer to the race. Right now, I just want to be very comfortable with 50 miles a week, plus the strength training, plus the speed work. And so that kind of leads me to the second thing that I'm going to walk through on how this week went, is the speed work. That's obviously important when I'm chasing a PR, and it's what I need to do to get faster. And so one of the things I'm trying to do is more speed work and less volume. And I think that's important because hopefully because I'm not running as much as I'm used to in the past, I can recover more to get more out of my speed session. So maybe that's not the right way to look at it. That's how I want to look at it this time around. So basically, here's the structure for speed work: is every Tuesday I'm doing mile repeats. I skipped that this week. I'll get into that in a second. And then I have this alternating like 2 week rotation where so Tuesday every single week I'm doing mile repeats, and then depending on the week I'll either do like 200-meter repeats or some sort of intervals on a Thursday or Friday. And then the following week, Saturday, I'll do tempo work during my long run. So every other week, there will be speed work during the long run. And then on the off week, it'll just be a base easy run where I'm in like zone 2. So this week, I was overly exhausted. I think it was from traveling the week before and just not sleeping a whole lot because I was at a work event. And so I really felt overly exhausted, which was kind of a poor way to start out this training block. But it seemed worth it to me to remove the speed work on Tuesday so I could feel good on Friday when I did the repeats, and then take it super chill on Saturday with the long run. So let's talk about the repeats. This is the first time I've ever done this type of interval work. So on Friday, again, I had ran quite a bit throughout the week, but on Friday I ran about, I think it was 8 miles, and I did 200 meters by 20. So basically what this is a 200-meter repeat. It's closer to, zone 5, or it's not quite a sprint, but at least from what I've read or studied, you shouldn't be able to maintain this for a very long time. And so I didn't realize this at the time, but a lot of people, when they do 20 20 200-meter repeats, they have like a resting period after the first set of 10, like 5 to 10 minutes, whether they run slow or they just take a break. I just did the repeats all the way through. I just basically I warmed up for about a mile and a half, and then I did 200-meter repeat, and then I would add 200 meters off, so 8-9 minute mile, whatever, and then I would go again. So my repeats basically ranged from like, the last one was 42 because I was just going 42 seconds. I just wanted to go fast, which is, I don't know, 5 something pace. But for the most part, I was around 47, 49 seconds. I was really anywhere between 6:10 and 6:40 minute mile pace. And so I have never done something like that, so I was all over the place with my pace. But it felt pretty good, and I actually felt really decent the next day, which happened to be my long run, which I'll talk about next. And then I cooled down with like a mile and a half, something like that. So it was the first time I ever did intervals like that. I don't have a track background. I didn't run in high school. I wrestled. I got into running after school, and so I don't have the foundation a lot of cross-country runners have, and so I'm excited to try some more of this repeat type of stuff. I think it'll be good for me. So that leads me to my long run, which happened to be yesterday. I'll probably film this video and post it every Sunday. So yesterday, I thought we were doing 10 miles. I have this group I run with. I just assumed that because I think that's one of the first runs that some of these guys I run with do every single season. So the basis of it is every Saturday I'll be running. When I'm not traveling, I'll be running on the St. George Marathon course. It'll range anywhere from like 16 to 20 miles or something like that, depending on the week. But there's this group of guys that do it every week as they prepare for the marathon. And so I thought we were running 10 miles and we have to meet at a location and all drive up together. And turns out they were running 16 miles. And so I only brought 2 gels, and I already knew this was going to happen, but I bonked like crazy early in the run. My legs were pretty blasted from the intervals, but I felt good enough to just kind of keep it chill. I didn't like hurt or feel like I had any pain or injury. And so we drove up together, asked them to drop me 15 miles out from our cars just because I was going to round off to 50 miles. And so because of this, surprise, I didn't have enough water and food. So I just decided to keep it chill, and if I blew up, I'd blow up, and I'd walk if I needed to. I ended up not needing to walk, which was really nice, but I definitely slowed down as time went on. So I don't really pay attention to pace that much anymore, but I was probably around 8:40 mile average or 9, something like that for the 16 miles. And all of that was in zone 2. So this is the week where I have intervals, and then my long run is easy zone 2 pace, or zone 2 heart rate, I should say. And then next week what will happen is this coming week I'll have Tuesday mile repeats, and then I will have no speed work or intervals as far as 200-meter repeats go, and then I'll do some tempo during my long run. So that's the basis of the training and how it went this week. The only other thing I'll add is I stretched after most of my runs. I skipped some of them because I'm a coward and I need to hold myself accountable to that, so I'll be better this week. And then the other thing is strength training. Because I was overly fatigued and exhausted, I mentioned this already, I rock climbed on Tuesday, which felt pretty good for upper body strength. I did a chest, shoulder, and tri session on Monday and did a little bit of core with that. And then I did only like 3 sets of squats, like 3 by 10. I think I warmed up with the bar and then did like 135. At the rock climbing gym, I did this. And just did a little bit of leg, like squatting and strength there. And I felt pretty beat after that, which is pretty crazy because usually my leg days are like 45 minutes or an hour. All I did was 3 sets of squatting. And so that told me I was definitely beat up. So I'm glad I did that. And then I didn't lift on Thursday or Friday. I'm planning on lifting about 3 days per week. I just was overly beat, and it felt worth it to not go too crazy in the first week and just make sure I'm in good standing as I move on through training. So, and I feel that. Today I'm a little tired, but I'm not surprised. I ran 16 miles yesterday. And yeah, that's pretty much the wrap up. So every week I'll be posting about how my previous week of training went. This is week 1. Like I said, I think it's 17 weeks I have left. I'll do the math and then, title it appropriately. So I appreciate you watching this video if you've gotten to this point, and if you have questions, you're always welcome to drop them, and I'll make videos to answer them. I look forward to this training block. It's been a while since I've taken a race pretty seriously, and so I'm looking for some redemption or feeling better about my running, if I'm being honest. So if you like this kind of content, my name's Reese. I do running, fitness, and talk about what I've learned from and training and what I do or what I avoid. So if you like that kind of stuff, consider subscribing, and if not, I still hope you got something out of this video, and I hope I get to see you in another video sometime soon. Peace!